Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna be doing my June update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows project. I'm finally getting like regular updates filmed for this. I did like one big update, which you've probably seen posted. So this is like just the next update. And I actually do have a lot of updates. I feel like the last update was just me being like, okay, here's where my shadows are now. Nothing's really changed, but there has been a lot that's changed since my last update. So buckle up, get excited. I know I am. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my Focus 5 shades. That's what I do every single time. Since February, I have not had any of my Focus 5 shadows change, which is why my last update was kind of ridiculous, because I feel like I was updating after not having an update posted since February and still I had no Focus shadows changed. It's fine. Finally, this time I do have some changes for my Focus shadows, so we'll just get right into those. My first Focus shadows are from my Modern Renaissance palette, and my Focus shadow is Red Ochre. And if you can see here, I did actually hit pan on Red Ochre. I know, I really wasn't expecting to hit pan on it when I did. I only used it twice in June, so I really wasn't expecting to hit pan on it. And I knew this shadow was gonna take a while, and I was totally right, because this shadow is the only one that is in since the beginning of the project. So officially, now that I have panned Red Ochre, I have officially hit pan or finished every single shadow from my original 5. Yeah, it took like 8 months, but here we are, you know, whatever. So that's super exciting. I have hit pan in Red Ochre, and then my other Focus shade is Venetian Red, which has a fairly large dip. I'll put a photo up as well, but it has a fairly big dip. I actually thought I was going to be able to hit pan in Venetian Red before Red Ochre, but I'm happy with it either way. Yeah, so those are my two from my Modern Renaissance. My next two are from my Lemonade Craze palette, and obviously I will put photos up because this one is almost impossible for me to show because of Curl Punch being destroyed. But my first Focus shade is Ice Pop. I have not hit pan on it yet. It is very hard pressed, so I do think it'll take kind of a while to hit pan on it. But I do get a good amount of use on it. And then my next one is Sugar Coated, which I actually did hit pan on as well. You really can't see it because this is like a black packaging and it's like plastic. You can't really see the pan when you hit pan. So I actually don't know if I hit pan when I did. I think I might have hit pan like sooner than I did, and I just didn't realize it because the pan was small and you couldn't really tell. But I definitely have a pretty large pan in it now, so I know that I've hit pan on it. And I used Sugar Coated 3 times in June as well. So yeah, really happy with that. And it's really exciting because that means Ice Pop is the last shade I have to hit pan on in Lemonade Craze. So I will be officially rolling in one of these shades to use up completely, which is super duper exciting. And then finally, my last shade is from my Pure Be Your Selfie palette, and that is Natural, which I am trying to use up because I pan in every shade in this palette. So yeah, it does look a little bit bigger. I'll put a picture of what it looked like last month, but overall, I think it looks pretty good. I feel like I'm just slowly but surely using it, trying to expand the pan. It's gonna take a while to use up any shade, but this one specifically, these pans are fairly large, so yeah. Oh, I feel like I should probably mention, obviously, sorry, I forgot. I got my hair cut. I got my hair cut last week. I really have wanted to cut my hair super short for a while. I've had bangs, obviously, since the beginning of the year, and I had always wanted to cut my hair really short. I did have hair this short, maybe not this short, but fairly short, like mid-neck. So I guess this short back in, oh goodness, 2019, I think. That was the last time I had short hair, but I didn't have bangs as well. And it was kind of more just like, less like choppy, less, you know, big or whatever. I'm still not totally like used to it yet. It has been less than a week, and I do think it's like super cute. I think it's really good for summer especially, and I love how like full and thick my hair looks. I just really like it. I'm really enjoying it, and I feel so adorable, and that's the goal for like any haircut, right? That you like feel really good. Yeah, I feel really cute. It's really like sassy and fun to me. I keep joking to my friends that I feel like a little French maid or something. No, I really like it, and yeah, I can't wait to see what it looks like as it starts to grow and things like that. And I just know that my hair, it feels so healthy, and yeah, I'm just really loving it. So that is the haircut. Okay, now to get into the palettes, we're gonna go through all the shades in my Modern Renaissance first. So obviously, as we know from my last update, Tempera is completely used up, and then Golden Ochre was used up like before I even started this project. So we have Vermeer. Vermeer I used 3 times in June. I'm really just trying to expand the pans. I think that if I really focus on it, I could use up Vermeer and Primavera pretty easily. I just feel like I don't put enough like usage on them. And then Bon Fresco, I also used 3 times, which is pretty surprising for the summer. Like I feel like that's a very like cool tone fall winter shade, but I've been really liking it. And then Antique Bronze, I used once. That is something that is gonna be more of like, I wear Antique Bronze all the time in the fall. So once it gets more like chilly out, I know I'm gonna be using that one a lot more. And then Love Letter, I also used once. I'm gonna keep using it basically only once until I hit pan in Venetian Red because they're basically identical on the eyes. So yeah. And then Cypress Umber, I used twice, and I usually only use it as a liner, and I'm gonna keep kind of doing that. It's a little too dark to use like in the crease or anything. I'm pretty pale, and I feel like I can get washed out fairly easily, like my features can. I have light eyes, light skin, so I feel like, yeah, it's really hard to use super dark shades all over the lid or like in the crease. So I just use it as a liner. Raw Sienna, I actually used 6 times, which is really surprising to me because I typically will use natural instead of raw sienna. I feel like the only difference is there are some days where I was just like reaching for this palette over the Pure Be Your Selfie palette. I think what I've started doing, which is interesting, is basically like using one palette one day and then another palette the next day and then another palette the next day. I'm not really like going in between these palettes anymore. It's kind of just like, all right, I need to use up these shades. So today I'm just gonna use this palette and then use another palette like in my collection. I've been trying to use more like other palettes in my collection because I just feel like I've really been neglecting all of my other shades and all of my other shadows and palettes and everything because I've been focusing so much on these, which obviously I like and is a good thing, but I want to be wearing like really bright makeup and fun colors because it's summer. So yeah, I try to like reach for one of my focus palettes and then other palettes as well. So I'm actually surprised I used it that many times. And then Burnt Orange, I think I said in my last update, but if I didn't, I've been using it as my like brow fill-in powder. It's kind of the perfect shade, especially for my current hair, obviously. It adds like just enough of like the orange without it being too bright, too like neon orange. And yeah, so I actually used it 26 times in June. I know, that's insane. I have been using it literally basically every day to do my brows. I used it today to do my brows. The tallies look crazy because everything is like 4 or 5 and then like 26 in a row. But I'm gonna keep using it. I really enjoy using it. I think it's a good way to get more usage on it. I have used it a couple times also as like eyeshadow, but mostly I'm just gonna use it every single day in my brows. And it's funny though, because I used it 26 times and I really don't think it looks that different from my last update. Like I really don't, because I'm only using a little bit of it every single day in my brows, but still I feel like it should have so much more. 26 times, it should be so much bigger of a pan, but whatever. And then I have Primavera. Primavera I used 3 times, which surprises me because I usually use this shade so much more in the summer because I wear a lot of gold eyeshadows in the summer. Don't really know. My goal is to use it a lot more in July when it's obviously still summer and warm. Yeah, so I want to get a lot more usage on Primavera because I use Vermeer a lot more in the fall and winter. Then obviously Red Ochre I used twice and I hit pan. And then Venetian Red I used 4 times. I have a pretty big dip in it. I think I'll hit pan sooner rather than later. I use Venetian Red a lot as a liner as well. But any single time I'm wearing like a pink look, except for today, I didn't use it for this pink look today, but typically if I'm wearing like a pink or a red or a berry look at all, I'm using Venetian Red as a liner or just as an accent shade, something like that. So yeah. Then we have Warm Taupe, which I used twice. And it's funny because I used to use Warm Taupe in my eyebrows and I feel like this is what I expect Burnt Orange to look like this big of a pan. But I think I used Warm Taupe in my brows for like 6-ish months versus Burnt Orange I've only used it in my brows for like a little over a month. So maybe eventually this will look the same as Warm Taupe. I think that that's what that'll eventually do because I tend to go down with like the little brush. And then finally we have Realgar. Realgar I used twice in June as well. And obviously, if you haven't figured out yet, that is the last shade besides Venetian Red that I have to hit pan on. So this will be in my Focus 5 shades, but I'll get more into that later. Next, we have the shades from my Pure Beer Selfie. First up, we have Pure, and I used Pure 4 times. I do end up using this a lot more in the summer because it is so warm toned. It looks light, like it looks super light. It looks like it would just be like to set the lid, but actually it packs a lot of punch. It is very pigmented and it's really, really warm toned orange. And I do really like wearing it because of that. I am trying to hit the wall. As you can see here, I've kind of started going this direction, and I think I'll be able to do that in July if I use it enough times, but I really like blending it out for a quick, everyday, easy look. So that's Pure. And then Natural, again, that's my focus shade, trying to use it up. I used it 8 times in June, so pretty good amount compared to a lot of my other shades, but hopefully this next month I'll be focusing more on Natural instead of Raw Sienna or one of my shades from my Maybelline Lemonade Craze. But I do think I'm still using it 8 times. I think that's good. I'm pretty happy with it. Its total uses, it's kind of insane, and it's gonna be interesting because I feel like whenever I do use it up, I'll already have so much more used up in this palette anyway that it'll be easier to use all the rest of them up, you know? Then we have Free. I used 4 times. I usually use this as a liner in the summer just because it is a lighter dark brown, if that makes sense. Like, it's not super pigmented, it's pretty chill, and it's really good for like work, things like that. Really like Free as well. Sometimes I'll use it in like the crease and stuff like that, but mostly I use it as a liner. Then we have Charming, which I used 3 times. I always think it's crazy that I only use it a couple times every month because this is one of my favorite shades to put all over the lid. Every single time I put it all over the lid, I think it looks amazing. But I think because it's so neutral and I like wearing more colorful eyeshadow that I just don't really reach for it as much. But I think this next month my goal will also be to use this more. I think in general, I'm trying to use this palette more because it is lighter. But I'm trying to use all of the shades in all of the palettes. So I mean, what am I gonna do? Next up we have Alluring, which I only used once, and I think that's because it was one of my focus shades, so I just kind of got a little bit, I don't know, tired of it. And then also having Sugar Coated in the Maybelline Lemonade Craze, that is a copper, so I wasn't gonna reach for Alluring if I could use Sugar Coated. I will say though, I do like the undertone of Alluring better than Sugar Coated. Sugar Coated is more of like an orangey copper. This is more of a rosy copper. I do really like this. I tend to wear, I thought at least, a lot of coppery makeup looks in the summer, but I think having like the color hair I have right now, I haven't really loved using copper eyeshadows. But I think maybe in the fall, I'll start to, you know, like burnt, rusty, coppery kind of shades. I think I'll use it a lot more in the fall. Hopefully, we'll see. Next up is the most surprising one. I have Gorgeous, which I used 4 times in June, which is crazy to me because I think before that, every month had been like one time, and I used it 4 times. So I don't know, I guess I was really rocking with Gorgeous. I think it's a cool shade. It's like really cool for liner because obviously it's sparkly. I think I've been enjoying like all shimmer looks a lot more, like not needing matte eyeshadows at all. So I think that that's maybe why, because I've been using it as a liner and in my crease and stuff, but I'm just happy that I got that much usage on it, to be quite honest. Then I have Fabulous, which I used once. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. This one is so hard for me to use. I do feel like it's more something that I'm gonna use in August. Like anytime I use really rich, like red tones, that's been kind of the time that I do it. So maybe in August or the end of July, when it gets like super hot and I wear a lot of summery looks. I just feel like in general, I've been wearing a lot of lighter makeup looks in like overall. So I feel like that's maybe why I haven't used a shimmery, like bright red. Then we have Strong, which I used twice, and I have Confident, which I used once. And yeah, those are also shades I'm gonna use a lot more in the fall. Okay, I'm gonna be hard pressed to show you, but I'll still hold the palette even if I can't show you. My Maybelline Lemonade Craze. I have hit pan on everything except for Ice Pop, so exciting. But to get into it, the first one is Sherbet. I used Sherbet 4 times in June. It's gonna have a lot more usage on it now than it has in previous months, mainly because I used up Tempera all the way. So this is now like my bone kind of setting my lids anytime I want to do like a neutral all matte look. This is going to be here. I did kind of hit pan accidentally up here. I don't really know what happened here, but I have like double pan, so I'm kind of just trying, my goal is to just like combine those into one mega pan because it just looks really weird to me. I don't know how I did that, but yeah, so that's sherbet. And then next up is Berry Ice, which I used 3 times in June. This one's really holding on strong. I just have like the very bottom and this very edge here, and my goal for July is to pan this completely. I just feel like I'm so close, and I do like using it. Like I used it today. This is the palette that I kind of focused on today, and so I used a lot of the shades today. But yeah, I just feel like I have so little product left. If I just really dedicated to the month to being like, okay, remember to use a Berry Ice, remember to use a Berry Ice, I think I'll be able to use it up in July. So fingers crossed, next update, it will be completely gone. Then we have Sunnies, which I used once, kind of similar deal. It's just not a shade I wear all the time. If I'm gonna be like wearing a neutral look, I usually go for sherbet. And if like the only time I really wear it is if I'm wearing a yellow look, and like how often do I wear a yellow look? And especially because I don't have the yellow anymore in here, obviously, because it's gone now. I'm just reaching for yellow shadows a lot less because I don't have one easily accessible to me. But yeah. And then Main Squeezed, I used 4 times. This is kind of like the only highlight shade that I really have in any of these palettes. So I get a good amount of use on it every single month. I do like it. Yeah, it's pretty good. Then we have Strawberry Lemonade. I used that 5 times in June. I do have it on like my inner corner today as well. I really like it. It's really nice for pink looks. Basically, I have a good amount of shades to do pink looks with in these palettes. This one, and then also my Modern Renaissance. I can do pink looks pretty easily, and I can do orange looks pretty easily, and I've been wearing a lot of pink. That is kind of like a spring summer staple for me. When I have like bright orange hair especially, I just think I look really good in pink. Obviously wearing a pink look today. Been really enjoying wearing pink. Pink and green is like the 2 eyeshadows and colors in general that I wear the most. So yeah, obviously as we know, Lemonade craze is completely gone. It got shattered, destroyed, so it is gone. Next up is Citrus, which I used 4 times in June. This is another one I really like for like work looks, just really simple looks where I still want some like shimmer or anything. It's like a really nice light peachy shimmer. Really love it, and I'm gonna keep using it. I do like that they are larger. They did a really good job with this palette of picking the right shades to have as large shades. Like those are the shades that I would use the most of, and I do use the most of, so I'm glad that I have more of them. Ice Pop, obviously one of my focus shades. I used 3 times in June. I have it today as well. That doesn't count towards June, that counts towards July, but I'm just saying I do like using it. I do use it a lot as liner, and I also will like blend it into other shades. It's a really nice bright neon pink, and I do really like wearing it, especially in the summer. So yeah, it's really fun. But like I said earlier, it's very hard pressed. So even though I have a really big dip in it, I don't know exactly when I'll hit pan on it, but obviously my goal for next month is to hit pan on it, because then I will have pan in every single shade in this palette, which will be so exciting. Then I have Coral Punch, which I used 6 times. Obviously Coral Punch is the one that shattered, so I'm really trying to use it up. That is my goal, honestly. Like whether I roll it in for my focus shade for this palette or not, I will be trying to use it up, which isn't very hard because Coral Punch is the shade that I wear all the time in the summer anyway. I love a peachy look. I love like light pink, light peachy looks, and I love blending it into like blushes. Like I'll do looks where I just basically like blend it all the way down and like across into like blushes, and I think it looks absolutely stunning, and I love my makeup every single time I do that. So it makes it really easy to not only use it more, but use a lot of it when I do use it, because I'm blending it obviously like all the way over here. And I am trying to use it up mainly because I can't travel with this palette. Well, I'm not gonna travel with this palette anyway, because the 2 times I travel with it, I have shattered shades in it. But I'm not going to, I can't travel with it anyway. Like I can't even take it for an overnight or something like that because it has a completely broken shade in it. So I just leave it flat on my vanity. And I can't show it in videos and everything. So I do want to use it up just for like that. And I also have so little of it left because it shattered. So I should be able to use that up in July as well. I gotta focus on this palette. Like that is, I gotta focus on this palette. To get, you know, Berry Ice used up, Coral Punch used up, pan and Ice Pop, and whatever else I roll in. Next up is Sweet Tea, which I used 5 times. Again, very surprised that I used that as many times as I did, considering I usually will reach for natural, but I actually think the undertone of this is a little less warm than natural, which I like. So I've been reaching for it on days that I'm not wearing as warm of eyeshadow looks, obviously, and to use just like in the crease, and I do really like that. Really easy to blend, and I am trying to hit either the wall or the top. That is my next goal for this one, just to expand that pan that way. So yeah. Old Fashioned, I used 4 times. Again, very surprising to me, but I think I just used it as like a liner every single time. And then obviously, like I said, Sugar Coated, I used 3 times and I hit panned it as well. So really exciting to have that hit pan on because I will be rolling in one of these to use up completely. Okay, with that, those are all of my shades in all of my palettes, and now we'll get into next month's Focus 5. So as I mentioned earlier with my Modern Renaissance, my 2 focus shades will be Venetian Red, which will remain in, and then Realgar, because those are the only 2 shades I have left in this palette to hit pan on. I actually think this is a perfect time to roll in Realgar because it is summer and that is a very deep warm orange, and I will get to wear a lot more orangey looks obviously in the summer. I do wear a lot of this specific orange tone, like kind of a light rusty sienna kind of orange color instead of like a neon orange. But to be fair, orange is kind of like my signature color. It's like orange and like neon green. Those are the 2 colors that I wear all the time. I can't even say that because I also wear like this shade of green all the time, and I obviously said I wear pink all the time. I have a lot of signature shades apparently, but yeah, so I wear a lot of orange is basically what I'm getting to. So I think this is a really good time, and I do have a pretty good dip on both of those. So I do think I'm much closer to hitting, well, I don't know. I have a really good dip in Realgar too, so I think they're kind of evenly matched. We'll see how much deeper I can get those dents in those shades this next month, having them rolled in, and obviously it'll be satisfying to have the last 2, and yeah, and then I'll have pan in every single shade, which that'll be so exciting. So yeah, obviously then Natural stays in as my focus shade, just expanding the pan, using that up completely. And then my Maybelline Lemonade Craze, this is the exciting one. So obviously Ice Pop stays in because it is the only one left that I have to hit pan on, but other than that, it is kind of up to fate of to what I am finishing up completely. Obviously, it'd be cool if I rolled in Berry Ice, but I'm kind of like, that's a cop-out. I'm gonna finish it up anyway. Or Coral Punch, because I'm trying to finish that up anyway. But we'll see. Maybe I'll get Sunnies, which I never ever use, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, or maybe I'll get something that I use all the time. The only thing I will say is I won't be rolling in Sweet Tea because I have Natural already in and I don't want any dupes, which I've had from the beginning. And then I also won't be rolling in Sugar Coated because it just was in. I don't know if I want to say that I can't have anything that's been in my focus because Strawberry Lemonade was a focus shade of mine and Citrus was also a focus shade of mine to hit pan on, but I think it's been long enough now that I'm totally fine with having those rolled back in. So yeah, I think it's just Sweet Tea that and Sugar Coated that I'm saying that I will not roll back in. Okay, so I film with my phone, but I got a number generator on my watch. So, okay, let's see how many shades there are. Okay, there are 8 shades that I can choose from. So, okay, we got 6. What is 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that is Citrus. So I am trying to use up Citrus completely. I will say that that is probably the one that I have the most product in besides Ice Pop. So that is interesting. So I will be trying to use up Citrus. I do think that obviously getting one of the 4 large ones is like, oh gosh, but my goal eventually is to use up all the shades anyway, and I really do like this one, and I think it goes well with all my other shades, so I'm excited about it. And I will also swatch all of these. I did have Citrus in like December and January, but again, I feel like it's been more than long enough. And if I could hit pan on it in December, I definitely can use up a lot of it in like July. It does make sense to me why Realgar and Venetian Red are 2 of the last shades I have in that don't have pan, because they're some of the most pigmented shades that I have in any of my palettes. So I only need like this much to like make a look. And I also, like I said, don't use a lot of darker shadows. So I'm just using them like as a liner, and I need like tiny amount to make a line. I'm actually glad I rolled in Citrus as well because it is a shimmer and I didn't have any other shimmers in my focus because Sugar Coated was my shimmer. So I'm happy to have 1 shimmer and 4 mattes, but this is what it's looking like. Don't mind my hand. I do have a burn on my hand. Like I have a couple burns on my hand, cooking accident, but this is my Focus 5. You can't really see Citrus. I feel like Citrus does not want to be picked up at all because it is so close to my skin tone, but that is my focus shade. I do think they go really well together, and this could be like a look right here. So yeah, I'm excited. All right, with that, that is my update for my eyeshadows for June. I'm really excited to get back into monthly updates for this. With that, if you like this video, please like it. And if you like me, please subscribe, join me for all that fun stuff. I hope you're having a great day, week, month, year, wherever you are. And with that, I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.